This damn phone. Damn, no, this don't work. That might do it. Might work there. It's so cloudy. Maybe it's the. Hold on here. What's going on here? Oh, that's a little better. Maybe if we tone this down, that might be better. Oh, it's so crazy looking. Hold on, everybody. I'm trying to get this here set up. It's so dark in here. All right. Got to find that balance of that tone, that light. Of course, we got. Hold on, guys. Hold on just a second. Just bear with me here, okay? Bear with me. Adjust this camera here. I thought about going outside, and we might do that. I need to get something to drink, so just hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. Okay. I think we're gonna have a little drink here. I don't know about that one. Look. Back to the other one, I guess. Woodford Reserve. Okay, so how is everybody? Okay, we got 20 people. All right, I'm gonna go back, going up to the top here. I'm gonna try to catch people. How you doing, Logan? What's up, Eclipse? My man, beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. I love it when you say that. What's up, Pee Wee? Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Logan. How you doing, Chris? We got, how you doing, Avenging Night? Got Grass Grind TV. Tyler Lewis from San Antonio. What's up, my man? Pee Wee looking slim? No, I'm not looking slim. It was the camera angle, bro. Camera angle. What's up, Ben? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. What's up, Wyatt? My man. Farm Tech. How's Danielle doing? We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Tino, drinks all around. I wish. Rick, thank you for coming out. Grassology, what is up, Kev? Doing good, man, bro. Grabbing a drink. You won't drink alone. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to catch you guys. How you doing, George? All right. A lot of you guys have been following. I'm going to stand up while we're doing all this talking and stuff. I mean, I don't know how long I'm going to be on here. A couple hours, who knows. But I'm not going to pass out this time. You know, you guys have been following, Danielle's my wife, this whole year. So this month is a year that she's been battling cancer. And, there's been a lot of, we've done videos, up and down, throughout the time. Okay, sorry about that, guys. That was my mom or mother-in-law called. Okay, no more phone calls till we're done. All right, so throughout this past year, we've been catching you guys up a little bit with Danielle's treatment, ups and downs, things like that. And so Donovan, how you doing? And then you guys saw Danielle times. So the treatments, went up and down. We had several chemo regimens, And a regiment is a period of time. So for us, it was 21 days. The regiment is, the different accumulation of chemicals you can use. Now they have so many different chemicals, and you just, you know, pick the different things and you put them together, but it's not like that. They're educated guesses based off of the type of cancer, the body makeup, so many different things. So there's times she was in remission, and then she went right into relapse. So there's been a lot of struggle. How you doing, Exterminator? Good to see you, my man. And so everybody said their goodbyes last Friday, and she passed away Saturday at 6:13 p.m. That's pretty hard. She left 4 kids, and so I'm not trying to bring sadness to the table or anything, and the only reason I'm bringing it to YouTube is because a lot of you guys have been following since the very beginning. That's a year ago. Okay, thank you, Tino. That's a year ago. So a lot of updates. A lot of you guys would text me all the time. Hey man, how's Danielle doing? Or you email me, or you message me, whatever. You'd reach out to me, and right away I'd communicate right back. Well, this is what we got going on, man. It's been a pretty good week, or no, it hasn't been a good week, or whatever, whatever. And so it's been pretty hard. All the family came Friday, and her mom, her dad. Well, her mom been with her every day for the last month. She was in there. Her mom and I would switch out every few days, but she stayed the majority of that time, this last stay. So I think she was there like 36 days, 37 days, something like that. And so she, what happened is, on this last round of chemo, there's a certain chemical in there. I don't remember the name of it, but anyways, know that you're the best. I'm sorry. Thank you, DJ Ginger. I appreciate that. DJ Ginger Gamer Boy. Huh. And anyway, so they told us that, hey, this chemo that we have is going to be harder on your body than the other ones you've had in the past. And she's had like 6 different regimens, And so the ones at the beginning were pretty easy going on her body. She had no side effects, none. And so, she would go in there. She would stay in like a week and a half, get the chemo, go home, and then go back every other day for blood work and transfusion if you needed one or whatnot. Thank you, Rick. And and then when you would go into relapse, we'd have to go right back in there. How you doing, Money making Mike G? Money G making Mike G? Then you go back in there. They have to get your body ready to receive chemo. It's not just hook up and you go. So I figured that was you, James. I knew. That's why I said it. I was like, man, that sounds familiar. Guys, DJ Ginger Gamer Boy is my son. He's my oldest son. He's 16. And he remembers Danielle. But hold on. Okay. So when you go through the different regimens, what was happening with her is that she would go in remission, and then she would go in relapse. So you would have bone marrow biopsy. The bone marrow biopsy, remember we talked about this in the past, it tells you, because leukemia is a bone marrow disease in the blood. And so it tells you what's the percentage or the blast count of that cancer in your bone marrow. So it hasn't gone into your circulating blood yet. So it would be whatever number. So you would do the chemo, it would knock it down. But you couldn't do another bone marrow biopsy until 21 days, give or take a day. So she would go into remission, and we know she'd be doing good because that pain in her back would go away. So the bone marrow is the blood that is created everywhere where our bones are. But there's a higher concentration of that around your pelvic area, around your sternum or your spleen, something like that, around your your ribs, like your vital area stuff. And she always had pain in the small of her back, kind of that area. And anyway, so when that pain would come back, where it was super painful, we knew the cancer was more present in her bone marrow. And then we would go back and we do a bunch of tests, and then sure enough, it is. Then we got to stay in the hospital and then prep her body to receive chemo. And then every chemo that she got was different than the next one. Thank you, Money Mike G. And so every one of them was different. The ones in the beginning, she really had no side effects too. They were gentler on your body. And as we were running out of options, we got down to the ones that were just straight up fucking hardcore. And Dr. Kadia, anytime you go in as an inpatient, you'll have rotating doctors. So you're always going to have a different doctor most of the time. Theirs is like a 30-day rotation, and then they move out and they do something else or whatever. Your actual diagnosing doctor that you receive in the very beginning stays with you, your treatment, your entire time. But as an outpatient, as an inpatient, you'll see a different doctor, but they're communicating with your diagnosing doctor. So anyways, and they would, shit, I forgot where I left off. But anyway, so, when we got down to this one that we just did, this chemo, there was a word like asparagus, something like that. They said that component, Dr. Kadia said that component is extremely hard on your body, especially the liver. So it's very taxing on the liver, and that it could be a lot of complications with that. Now, a lot of you guys don't know, the liver, it's a fascinating organ. The liver is the only organ in the human body that can, it's going to blow your mind, that can, what's the word I'm looking for? That can regenerate itself. It only needs like about 25% of the actual volume of it, and then it can continue. It can grow the rest of the full length size, which is like, wow, that's cool. And anyway, so how you doing, KH? Thank you. How you doing, Thomas? And so Jason, Crazy Cuts, thank you. And so the liver, all right, so on the liver, it controls so many different things. You got enzymes, you got tons of shit. Okay, so what was happening is once we got in there and everything was fine, we were doing okay, she got out from that hospital visit like Christmas Eve. It was, no, sorry. She got out one after that, about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And now I need to back up. She almost died that time, actually. I think I might have told you that time where they were giving her the metoprolol injections. That wasn't working. They gave her the adenosine, and they like stopped her heart for like a second, restarted it, and then I think I told you guys about that. If I didn't, let me know. Anyways, so she got out for like a week, and then she wasn't feeling well, so I took her back. And then she was in for like several weeks, and then she got out Christmas Eve, and then she was not doing good. And so on Christmas Day, she couldn't even sit up in the couch. She could talk to you, but her body was just, it just wasn't doing good. So we took her back on Christmas Day. I took her back on Christmas Day. Her mom came and watched the kids while I ran her up there. And then, she'd been up there the whole time. We got her into her room and, started, doing all these different tests, doing everything. And then she was doing fine. And then she started not eating as much, and then not drinking as much. And then, things just, kind of slowly went downhill. And then it got to where she wasn't eating anything. Her jaw hurt. She was having no interaction with you, And then she'd barely open her eyes. Most times she wouldn't open her eyes at all. She could nod. She could say yes, no, but it got to where she barely wasn't doing anything. And so that went on, and then it was like 2 weeks. Her bilirubin in her liver was going up. Now, in a healthy person, the bilirubin is like below 1. High would be like 1.2. Hers was going up. So it maxed out. Now, there's not a max, but before it came back down, we were at 20. Every day it was like boom, 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 boom. and that was creating a jaundice-like look on her body, which is when babies are born, they're kind of yellow, yellow in the eye, white of the eye. It's called a jaundice, but it has to do with bilirubin. I think that has to do with the body not able to release all of the red blood cells, and it's overproducing or something like that. It's not going out your urine, your potty, or whatever, and something like that. So that was getting to be like really bad, and that affects the enzymes. The enzymes are real high. That affects everything in your brain too. So it's sending mixed signals to your mind, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, all those different things, how it functions and reacts to other organs of your body. I mean, the liver, like, is just, all the organs are important, but the liver really, if that's really out of whack, a lot of other things are really, not going to be good. So, so as that was getting bad, she wasn't eating, she wasn't drinking at all for like 2 weeks. The first week, she was there, and they're like, you know what? After that first week, they said, let's do a liver biopsy. And I'm like, why didn't we do that before? They wanted to do a liver biopsy to see if the cancer had spread into her liver. We did a CT scan. That was fine from her head all the way down to her toes. We did MRI. Everything was fine. We did a lot of other tests. Everything was fine. We did EKG, EEG. Everything was fine. Everything was either negative or normal. Whatever that result needed to be for it to be okay. It was one of those two. And so the liver biopsy came back. They were waiting to do a liver biopsy because when they do it, they come in like through your neck and they go all the way down, and they take a little, piece, not a piece, maybe a blood sample, I don't know, something through your vein, artery or vein or whatever it is, take that little sample from that liver and then pull it all out. Now, when you're a cancer patient, you are susceptible to getting infections and bacteria a lot easier. When your white blood count is 0, your body can't protect you from shit. You could have a little bitty paper cut, and that will turn into a life or death situation of you surviving. That's how bad it is for a cancer patient when you have 0 white blood count cells, because the white blood cells is what fight off infections or try to, and things like that. So anyways, so we're waiting for a whole week. We had preliminary back after like a few days, and then the full report the next day. So this whole time, her body is hurting, a lot of pain. Medicine that we're taking isn't doing anything for her. And then you have like she'll make the noises like, so that's pain, that's agony, that's being uncomfortable, that's worrying about stuff, that's so many different things. And no matter what the medicine they're giving, every 2 hours, every hour, continuous, this and that, it doesn't matter. It was hard for her to sleep because of what was going on in her mind and in her body. And so so finally, now remember, she hadn't eaten anything. So when you don't eat and all you take are these medicines that they have on the IV pole, okay, the food that we consume when we are sick or in the hospital trying to get well, and all the different medicines, that food plays a crucial role on getting us, not necessarily getting us healed, because that's not the only thing you have to have. But what that food does when you're consuming food in medical circumstances is it absorbs a lot of the medicine, okay? And when it digests into your body, it kind of goes, out the potty or the urine or whatever. Plus the nutrients you can get from food too, you can't get in certain IV bags. Like the banana bags they have, they can change some of the components in there. The next step would be the what's it called? The Dobhoff. It's kind of like an NG tube, it's smaller. It goes through your nose, on down to your stomach. They can do some well-blended stuff in that. Next stuff would be through the mouth. It would be like liquids. Next would be soft foods. Next would be whatever you want to eat. So, those are the different levels. So those foods that you eat, anything that has any kind of nutritional value, helps your organs. Those minerals and vitamins and whatever calories, proteins, all that stuff go to different parts of your body and your liver and your organ. It goes to your stomach first, digest, then it goes into the bloodstream, into the tissues, into the everything. And they're giving that body the stuff it needs. When you don't have food, she's not a big girl, she was a small girl. I mean, if it was me, shit, I could probably go 3 weeks without eating, my fat ass. So, but with her already being skinny and lost well over 40 something pounds the previous time she was in the hospital. So now she's, 120 something, 130 something. So that puts a lot of stress on the body because she's constantly getting these fluids. Then she had to stop taking pills because she could no longer swallow. Whenever you don't use these muscles here often enough, you're just not able to do it. They don't work. They don't swallow saliva down. They don't this. You can't cough anything up. Once she wasn't doing any of that, we could not give her anything. Everything was through the Dobhoff and right down in the back. And so you don't have that food. So all right. So your body's stressing because it's not having food. It's not being able to balance things out. She, the stomach was not very happy. It was black tar, what was coming out. And that's a lot of bile, which bile was the only thing that was coming out because there was nothing inside of her. The medicines and all that stuff. And that just tears you up. It tears your bottom up, and it tears your stomach up and everything. And, you're having to go every 5 minutes. So, anyway, so, got to point to where then, it just got really bad. So anyways, then the biopsy came back. Biopsy was good. The cancer had not gone into the liver, so they were okay on that. So now they were able to, okay, now that's not in there. Now we can treat the liver a little differently because they wanted to make sure they didn't have all the information. So they couldn't say, okay, let's do this to the liver or let's do that. They couldn't because they didn't have all that information. After the full report came back and then said, okay, now we can do this. Cool deal. So now the cancer, it was present in the body, but it wasn't like, taking over, So now they were able to focus on the liver. So they started doing that. And then a couple of times, she just wasn't going to make it. Her body started doing something crazy. And the doctor came up to me and people started coming in the room. They said, Kevin, we need to know right now, what are your thoughts on reviving her? And I'm like, well, what are you talking about, dude? And I knew her body was getting, I had been in that position before, and I knew her body was, doing some crazy shit. And all her vitals were just going whacked out. And I said, well, we keep going. And I said, we'll at least revive. If her body will revive after once you're trying, then we'll stay doing that. I said, but if it goes down again, then, that may be it. And then they said, well, what about life support? I said, life support, what's the point? Because once you go on life support, you got that tube all the way down. It's breathing your lungs and your heart and all that other stuff it's doing. And you can't, what's the point? You can't live like that. You can't do anything. And if you pull it out, you tear all your shit up anyway. So, no, we're not doing that. And anyway, so they were wanting to let her go at that time. And I said, fuck no, we're not doing that. I mean, the doctor's right here in my face. We're like this, right? We're not arguing. We're just, look, that's how serious I am. I want you up in my face so I can see you. And he said, well, it doesn't look good. And I said, look, man, as long as she is responsive to you, and as long as, there are options on the table, we keep going. So there's only two ways out of this. Your body either gives up or you have exhausted all options and there's nothing you can do. I said, because that is the only time that you can honestly say that you gave 100%. I said, if you don't, and you don't try that one other thing, then for some people that may eat at them the rest of their life. And you will always wonder, man, what if I would have tried that one more thing? Man, I wish I could see my mom again, or my dad again, or my wife, or my husband, or whatever the case may be, or my kids. You can't. So if you're ever, I'm talking to you, if you are ever in that situation, you're at the hospital, let me tell you something. Because this whole year, I have fought, side by side with Danielle to these doctors, these nurses and nurse practitioners, the special doctors, what all this shit. And what you learn is that there are always more options for you. You know, you have more control of what's going on than you think. Okay, so there's patient's rights, there's advocate rights for the patient, things like that. We had to fire a doctor, fire a nurse practitioner, and fire a nurse because I didn't like the way they were performing their duties or how they were treating Danielle. We've even swapped out a couple other people along the way, and you can do that. That we'll get to, you know, a couple things of what had happened another time. Maybe not this video, I don't know. But anyway, so when the doctors tell you, when they come in, you know, they try to bulldoze you over like verbally, you know, and when you try to ask a question too, they're kind of walking out while they're trying to answer you. Don't do that. When they come in, what you can do is when they come in, you know, they're coming to the bed, right? And then as they're coming in, then you turn around to where now you are between the door and them, you know, but maybe closer to the bed or something. Because then now they have to actually make more of an effort to go around you to get to the door, and all you have to do is sidestep. Okay? So think about that and remember that if you're ever in that situation. So the doctor's saying, well, you know, I think it's time to let her go. I said, no, we're not doing that, buddy. And I looked over at Danielle and I'm holding her hand and I said, babe, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep fighting and keep going? Because I'll keep going. And she nodded her head and said yes. And I think that was the dog eating food. I'm like, what the hell's that noise? And I turned to the doctor and I said, then that's what we do. We keep going. And I told the doctor, it was the doctor's partner, but he was a doctor too. And I said, look, ma'am, I said, you need to preserve life as much as you can because you never know when things take a turn for the better. Okay. And the same thing the other way around. You never know when things take a turn for the worse because you have that side of the coin too. So, but when you're fighting something like cancer, and there's all kinds of cancers, or when you are maybe having heart surgery or you're having, you know, something else that is life-threatening, there's always a chance of not making it. When you're in that type of situation in the hospital, you know, you have to maintain positive. No matter, and you never know the outcome. You never know the outcome until the outcome happens, okay? You can predict it all you want. You could be like, well, no, well, this is probably going to happen. There's a high chance this is going to happen. Yeah, you could do that. But you can't say this is exactly what's going to happen until it happens because there are always miracles. Not every time. I'm sure there's miracles every day because we got a billion people on the planet. But there's always miracles. There's always things that create change that then change the outcome. So that's why you always give 100%. It doesn't matter what's going on or what you think, you know. You don't think of, you know, okay, are we going to make it? You know, we're not going to make it, or if you don't make it, don't think about any one of those. Just think about it. You know what? What do we need to do to get through today to wake up tomorrow morning? And that's what you do, and that's what you think about. And because that's all you can control is what's happening right now. Don't get caught up what's going on tomorrow. Don't get caught up with, well, you know, what if the results come back of this? Now, what you can do is, okay, what if the results come back this? Okay, what is your action for that? If the results come back this, what is our action for that? You can do that. You can pre-plan, you know, but don't get carried away and then go too many steps forward, you know what I'm saying? So we had a nurse practitioner in there. It was that same night, might have been that next day. And she was saying the same thing. We need to let her go. You know, she's in pain. And that. I said, no. I said, we're not letting anybody go. And I said, look, lady, anytime I say lady or guy, that's like my way of saying, you know, like, look, asshole, you know, look, jerk or whatever. I said, look, lady, what if it was your daughter? What if it was your mom? What if it was your dad, your cousin, whatever, on that bed? Would you not want to keep going until you've exhausted all opportunities, or at least have all the information on the table before you make your last decision? And she goes, and I just wanted to jack slap that bitch so bad. And I said, okay. I said, so you're telling me, and I knew she didn't have any kids because you wouldn't have answered like that. So when you have children, it's completely different. And I said, okay. I said, well, what if it was your husband sitting on there? Well, or you? She goes, well, I don't know. It depends, you know, if they're in a lot of pain, you know, we need to quit the suffering and this and that. I said, so without having all the options, without having all the information on the table, without exhausting all the options, you're ready to throw in the towel early and give up and move on to something else. She says, well, at least they'll be out of pain. I said, okay, look, lady, this is not a basketball NBA game championship where you have 20 seconds left on the buzzer. The other team is 14 points up. You don't fucking throw in the towel like that. You keep going. And I said, look, are you religious? Now that doesn't matter. But I was just asking her. And she says, yes. I said, okay. Well, then maybe you should have a little bit more faith in some things that maybe you can't quite control just yet. Maybe you need to lead the body to a certain point. Maybe the body needs a little bit more time to do what it needs to do. Maybe the doctor, physicians, whatever, need a little bit more time to put stuff together to come up with a plan. And she goes, yeah, but I also work in leukemia and I know, this industry and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, well, I think maybe you should use both of those. So you have your faith mixed along with your profession of what you do. And maybe by, delivering that service or whatever it is that you're doing, you're always having that hope that what you're doing is going to extend that life. And anyways, I didn't care for her. So that once I was done, I said, well, I'm going to be switching you out with somebody else. So we got a new nurse practitioner. That was actually the second time I kicked out. That was the first time I kicked out another one because I'll tell you that here in a minute. She rolled her eyes at me. I about came unglued. So Danielle's. We got past that point. That was in January, but we're still in there. Okay, early January, somewhere around there, the first couple of weeks or so. And then we get into, they move us down to one room. They were on 16th floor. Move us up to 17 because we needed a room with telemetry, that monitor that's got all the things. And that was the only one available. Then the very next day, they brought us back down to 16 because a room had opened up with telemetry and they really wanted to monitor heart and the other stuff going on electrical-wise in our bodies. And so they moved her back down. And so Dr. Yilmaz, her inpatient doctor who was there for this cycle, he was coming in and, finally the bilirubin started coming back down. Now, it was coming down every day. It was like 1 point. So 20, 19, or went 20, 16, 15, 14, 12. And they got down to like 8 point something or 9.2, something like that. And she started doing better. She started talking a little bit. She started, she was able to move up to a higher, what do you call it? A higher amount of volume of that food coming through the Dobhoff and through her nose. And anyway, so that was doing good. And she accidentally pulled the Dobhoff out, so we had to put a new one in. Oh, that had hurt so bad. And then her body made a turn. Like one day, it just said it started going back up. We're like, what the hell? They couldn't figure out what was going on. And so they came in to tell me that there was sick. They checked these. They did a test and they checked the circulating blood, and the circulating blood had 65% blast, which was the leukemia. So this whole time we never had cancer. Never left the bone marrow, and so when it gets into your other parts of your body, yeah, you need chemo. But her body could not handle the chemo. There'd be you would die from receiving the chemo, and her liver wasn't even healthy enough. And so while the Dr. Yilmaz had talked to me about this, he had a nurse practitioner kind of over here, and then the nurse, what do you call it? The charge nurse off to the left. And so as he's talking to me, and then I start talking a little bit, and the nurse practitioner, she's like, late 30s, She goes, like that. I said, hey, if you want to roll your eyes, you can take that shit outside. I said, because people in here are paying attention and talking about things that are really important. And if you don't want to be a part of that, you could go. Anyways, and so she's like, what? I said, don't what, me? You were rolling your eyes when I was talking. And I said, so people on the receiving end, take that as very offensive, take that as someone who don't give a shit. And the charger says, hey, don't cuss him out. I said, first of all, I'm not directly cussing you like, bitch, don't be doing that. Like I wasn't doing that. Totally different. And Dr. Yilmaz turned around and he looked at the nurse practitioner like this, and he goes, his hand was lower, but he kind of did his hand like that, and he just shook his head like, "What the fuck, bitch? What is wrong with you?" It's like shit. And then we continued to talk about it, and at that point, we had exhausted everything, and there was no time frame on when she was going to go. And at that time I realized that we now this whole year I was constantly pushing the doctors on everything. I researched everything we were doing, everything from the CAR T cells on and the NK cells on the transplants and stuff. I started learning about all that. I knew about all the regimens she was taking. I knew about all of the treatments, fucking everything, because I wanted to know what was happening. Did I need to stop and say, no, let's change this, which I did a couple of times, but that wouldn't have changed the outcome. So I had knew, when he said that, then I had known that at that time that I had exhausted everything. And when you get to that point in that kind of a situation, when you're going to lose someone that you love, whether it's a child or a mom or a dad, an uncle, grandma, a wife, husband, whatever, it's like but it doesn't quite sit in yet. And you get this feeling over you. It's like this darkness comes in. So like if you're standing here outside and then you see this right here, all of a sudden it casts a shadow, and that's what it felt like, but emotionally. And I literally felt like someone put a blindfold on me, and I was only seeing out of the bottom half of my eyes. That's what it felt like. And I never felt like that before. Because here it is, someone I've been with for 4 years, and we dated 2 years, and then, we got our 2-year wedding anniversary next month. She turns 32 next month. Those kinds of things. We have 2 kids together. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage. That makes 4 total kids she gave birth to that all live at our house. So, I'm standing there and I'm looking at her. Now at that time, she really was not as responsive as before. She had gone back downhill. She would mumble a little bit. She may open her eyes a little bit here and there. She could squeeze your hand. She could move her foot a little bit, those kinds of things. But every day, that became less and less. That connection with that individual became less. So, as we went on to where the doctor said, well, it's just a matter of time, and the body's just, it's going to stop because the cancer is now spreading. Now it's going to start affecting all the organs, and there's nothing you can do. So, after, I don't know, a day or two, she stopped receiving infusions like platelets and blood and stuff like that because there was no point. Pulled the feeding tube out. So she went, a few more days, and that was hard to know that was going to happen. And, so you have like these 3 levels. That's how I look at it. You have like these 3 levels. I don't know what you want to call them, grieving or whatnot, but you have this first level where someone's not going to make it, okay? But they're still here. You can still see them and touch them, and they can hear you or whatever the case may be. And then you have another level when they pass away. Then now you can't talk to them anymore. Then you have another level of when you bury them. Now you can't touch them anymore. You can't see them anymore. So that's how I look at it anyway. So you have those 3 levels. I haven't gone through the 3rd one yet, but we will be doing that Saturday. And so she's still alive at the time, and it's me, her mom, mainly, because everybody else lives kind of far away. The other people hadn't came in yet. So we're there, and a couple days goes by and it gets a little worse and worse. Then her best friend, Kelsey, flies in from Indiana because we knew we were getting close. So she comes in, and then the grandmas and her mom and her aunt came on a Thursday last week. So they come in, I'm sitting on the couch, and I was gonna wait till, I mean, I was tearing up, a little bit of tears here and there throughout the whole thing, and I was gonna wait till after the burial and everything to really just, I was trying to keep it together and wait till everything, was done, and then do all of my grieving, because it ain't gonna stop after one day. It's on. You could be at the store, and fuck, dude, you could smell. A lady could walk by, and it could be a perfume that your wife used to wear, and you just start crying because you're like, dude, well, I know some other broads wearing it. It's not my wife though, but it's those kinds of things. You could be doing something. You could be making a dinner. You could be sitting in a chair watching a TV show. Something, brushing your teeth. This is so crazy. You could be brushing your teeth. If like our bathroom's got a double sink, brush your teeth. And normally, if your wife is always there in the evening next to you brushing her teeth, you don't have that. So when that happens, you can't control what's coming. The emotional level to deal with that is, you know, um, pretty tough. So we're in there with her. The grandmas are, on each side of the bed, and I'm giving them space because we had been there all day, all night, every day, that kind of thing, and they had just got there, so I wanted to make sure they could spend time with her, and she could open and she could nod a little bit. Her movements were very subtle at this point, and anyway, so they're singing to her. There's some songs that Kelsey, her best friend, and Danielle really liked, and so they were singing. I say they, it was Kelsey really. She had her little music thing, and so she was singing these songs. And one of them was like by Vince Gill, "Go Rest High Up on That Mountain." I think it was about his brother or something like that. That was that one, of course. Then "The Amazing Grace," and there were some other ones that were really, really good. So she sang. She sang for 12 hours to Danielle, and other people sang too, because after you hear it over and over, you know the words. And we just touched her and hold her and loved her and kissed her and verbally constantly talked to her, because we knew and she knew she could still hear. And so you're doing that, and then it's hard for me to look at it at that point. I mean, I look at it all the time, but what I'm saying, without crying, that's what I meant to say. Sorry. So then standing at the foot of her bed like this, looking at her like I'm looking at you, and the grandmas are down this side, and she's looking at them, because she can make eye contact and she knows what she's looking at. And then she looked down at me, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm about to cry now. And I just started crying again, and I said, babe. And then they I forget who it was, pulled me up to the side of the bed, and Niagara Falls happened, dude. I just started was bawling so loud. The nurse came in and said, "Is everything okay?" And I had to stop crying, and I didn't want her to know I was not that I didn't want her to know I was crying, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." And then I went back to fucking crying again. And it was like, to know, it would be no different than if you were with somebody for 30, 40, 50 years and you started bawling. It's still the same feeling of that loss. And the part that sucks the most is we just started a couple years ago. Started that life, started those babies. She was going to be 32 next month. So I'm standing next to her, because she's laying in the bed, and I'm leaning over, with her, and I'm bawling, and then I lean back, and I'm telling her, babe, I'm so sorry, you know, um, that I'm so sorry that I did everything I could to save you, that I pushed the doctors, and I pushed and pushed, and I made sure that we tried everything, and and there was just nothing that I could do, and that I love you so much. And well, I was sitting kind of back from her a little bit on that, or standing up, and at that time she was sitting, kind of like at an angle, because that bed was up. And again, she doesn't have any strength. Okay, she can't really talk. She can mumble a tad maybe at this time. Her eyes are open, and she leaned forward like that off of the bed, and very subtly picked her arms up and leaned towards me. And that was another hard, that of course you just hug her, and anyway, so So the ladies left after they were there for a good while. They prayed. He did all kinds of stuff with her, and then the next day, um, when we woke, me, her mom, her cousin, Ashley, and Kelsey, we stayed there with her that night. Of course, like you're not gonna leave. And there was four chairs in her bed. We each laid over her, sitting in your chair. And so part of us, mainly our head or whatever, was in contact with her. So we were sleeping with her, and my hand was on her hand, most of the time. And so then in the morning, now it's Friday, and now all of the, I told Wendy, her mom, I said, I think we should probably start getting all the families here because, things are starting to change. And I think we're getting close. So we called all the grandparents came back again. The moms, the dads, the aunts, the uncles, and stuff like that. Most of them came. Then my mom came. My mom drove. It's really 2.5 hours away, 2.5 hours away. But she drove like 80 or 90 miles an hour with with our two babies. I'm like, Mom, I'm glad you made it here in a good time, but my kids are in your van. But anyway, so she made it. So okay, so now it's Friday. This past Friday. I wanted to make sure I could help Danielle hug everybody and do those kinds of things. So I straddled the bed. It's just a twin size kind of bed. I straddle the bed. I'm sitting on the bed. We got a bunch of pillows behind me. Danielle is now leaning against my back, so I'm a little angled like that so she can kind of sit up. I have control of her arms and her hands because she can't control that, but she can hold her neck up fairly well. And at this point, she hadn't really opened her eyes much at all. Like on Thursday, not really much at all. And when she looks at you, there's no emotion on the face, none, because she can't control that. And she knows when she was making all these other noises the weeks and stuff before, her body jerking and this and that. She says, I can't control what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing. And I couldn't imagine what it's like to be in that body, to be her. And I want you to think about this for a second, okay? I want you to think about this. She's in a position, she knows she's not. Damn, dog. Man, whew. God damn. Jeez. Sorry about that, guys. Dory is farting up a storm in here. I want you to think about that for a second. She's lying there in bed, okay? She's laying against my chest, kind of backwards. I'm holding on to her. She can see people. She can feel people. She can hear people, but she can't communicate. No facial expression, no noise, no nothing. All she can do is see, and her eyes are real slow when they move. There's no emotions. She knows she's not going to make it. Okay? She knows at that point she's not going to make it. It's a matter of hours, not days, hours at that point. You know you're not going to make it, and you're just, I mean, it's like, how do you can't express anything. Try to see what that feels like, and then try to express it if you can't express it. I couldn't even imagine that, dude. It would be like 100% paralyzed, and you're trying to talk, trying to move, and you can't because you just can't. All you can do is think, And anyway, so we're on the bed there. She's leaning against my back, or I'm sorry, her back is leaning against my chest. And the two older kids were kind of one of the first ones there, and Talon and Riley, they didn't quite catch on to kind of what was going on. I mean, they knew Mama was sick. They didn't know really that Mama probably wasn't going to make it. And so it took about 30 minutes. Finally, and I was holding them, on the bed. I said, "Come here, buddy," So I was holding him, and after a while, they started crying. The realization started to set in, and so Riley is a little more sensitive than Talon. So Riley laid right on the bed with us, for a long time, and just kept touching his mama's arm just like that. He said, "I love you, Mama," and she can't say anything. She can't do anything. All she can do is feel. All she can do is hear, and all she can do is see. So to try to imagine, wanting to hug your baby, or your wife, or whatever relative, and you can't, but they're touching you, and you want to show them how you feel, but you can't do anything. I couldn't imagine what was going through her head for several days. Ooh, bug. Ah, damn. It's like a mosquito hawk or something. For several days, knowing that. You know? So I'm holding her, and then some of the other family starts coming in. And so then mom, everybody's hugging her and this and that. We're all crying. It's a very, very, very hard time. This is last Saturday, or Friday, sorry. Very hard, difficult time. And but I'm sitting there, I'm holding her, keeping her up, and if people want to hug her, I help her with her arms, to put on them. And then Casey and Landon finally got there with my mom. And as soon as mom opened the door, I motioned, to bring Casey here. And I just started bawling again. And I grabbed Casey and I just picked her up and I put her, on my leg, just leaning to mama. And I started, hugging her and doing a thing. And I started crying again. And I said, baby, I'm sorry. I did everything I could to save your mom and everything, and I'm sorry, but I just couldn't do it. I wasn't able to. And so that was very hard to deal with, to sit there and to try to talk when all these emotions are coming out, and it was very difficult. And so you have like all this pressure in your chest. And so you sit there and you're holding her, and she doesn't know she's 3 years old. The 10 and 9 year old finally caught on. They finally got it. Okay, the 10-year-old Talon, she was kind of distant at first. She didn't want to accept it. Then later on that evening, then she started bawling. She knew it finally set in, and you. Some people say, well, they don't need to experience that. Well, here's the thing, that's the only time they were going to see their mom alive. So they need to be in there. Children are very resilient. They can handle those things as long as they have a strong, good support channel right there. A grandma, their grandma was there. Danielle's mom, Wendy. So that would be Namaw. And as long as you have that to hold them and tell them it's okay to cry, it's okay this, that, then it's okay. Then they're not going through that by themselves. Then they know it's okay to let go of those feelings. So, so Casey, kept looking at Mama, and said, you touch her and like, hi, Mama, stuff like that. And, again, you know, Danielle can't respond. She can't say anything. She can't do anything. And, so, but she looked at her, and it was kind of like, what's going on? Then she kind of look around, look at everybody like, what's going on, my mom? And then she'd say, Mama's yellow or Mama's green. She started changing colors a little bit. And, there's nothing you can do on that. And so you have that little girl, wondering what in the world's going on. And then she hugs her again. She just lays right there on her, right here. She just lays on top of Mama and just puts her arms around her and said, "I love you, Mama." And then finally, when she wanted to get up after 10 to 15 minutes or so, then Landon, the 1-year-old, he's sitting over in the corner with Riley or something, and he's kind of looking at me, but he's tearing up, and I wanted him to come sit with me and Danielle, and so we get him on the bed, and he already his bottom chin started doing that. When you start crying, it starts doing that. And as soon as I sat him down on my leg, he leaned right into Mama and started bawling. He knew at 1 year old, he knew what was happening. He just felt that. So you're going through all that, and then okay, once everybody leaves that night, while she's awake, Danielle, she looks from left to right a couple times very slowly, and she makes eye connection with every single person. Remember, there's no emotions. It's just me doing this. right? But a less emotion than that. And here's something for you. When Casey was on her lap, I forgot this part. When Casey was on her lap, I put her arms around her, okay? Danielle's arms around her so she can touch her. My hands are on top of Danielle's hands so I can control them, right? Okay, so my hand's just resting there, okay? And her hand is kind of like, in here, in chest or wherever on Casey. I could feel her hand do this right here, okay? I could feel that. Danielle was trying her hardest to, when you give a hug, you always, you're squeezing like, yeah, that kind of thing. She was doing that, and she was trying so hard, and I could feel that. And I would tell Danielle, and I'm on each side of her ear, I would tell her, it's okay, babe. I know you're trying. And, Casey knows that Mama loves her. And I tell you, dude, it was very tough to go through that. And so that night, everybody left. Dad went home, everybody. And so then the next morning, now it's Saturday, February 1st. And, we're waking up, beautiful sunrise. We absolutely slept zero. Okay. And so her dad calls and says, hey, I'm on my way, or texts, hey, I'm on my way. I was like 10 something. We're like, okay, wow, cool, man. So I told Danielle, I whispered to her, now at this time, this day, there's no movement from her body other than breathing. There's no eye movement. There's nothing. She had exhausted everything for Friday because I told her, hey, everybody's coming, babe. Just hang in there. You can't go yet. You can't leave until I tell you you can leave. Okay. So Saturday rolls around, and uh-oh, I see this bug now. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get this guy. Oh, find him. Where'd he go? Where? God dang it. Alright, I don't know where he's at now. Alright, so I just don't want this mosquito hawk laying eggs in my ear when I'm sleeping. Okay, so now it's Saturday. She's not moving around at all. She's breathing. Now, there's a lot of secretions in her throat. So what that is, a lot of dried blood, a lot of mucus, like whatever. It's just every time she's breathing, it sounds like you're gargling, snorkeling or whatever. And she's still at that little bit of an angle because if it was laying down, it'd be, it could go into your lungs, and we didn't really want to. We didn't want to torture her. We wanted to, so they're giving her medicine. So we're trying to ease the pain as much as we can, but still keep her kind of conscious until the body goes. And they can't just drug her anyways just to help her go. I mean, by law, you can't do that. So you can give a little bit of pain medicine for the pain, and the body has to go on its own. So we're sitting there doing that, and the whole day, her body starts, moving a little bit more, and that kind of stuff. And real bad, and it was late afternoon, somewhere around there, and I told her, I said, hey, baby, your daddy's here, he wants to tell you a few more things. And so he walks over there, of course. Now, he was there earlier than that, I'm sorry. And then, he's hugging her and talking to her, and she can't see us because she didn't open her eyes, but she can hear us. So we're telling her, we're just telling fun stories that, we had with her. You remember the time, babe, when this and that, or this, so we were sharing just a couple of those, just to try to help cope with the gravity of what was happening. It's going to get much worse, so I hope you guys can hang on. Okay. So, all right. So now it gets late afternoon, and her mom starts crying, really bad. And she says, I just wish her body would go. And so she doesn't have to have pain and suffering no more. And, of course that's, that's what we all want. And, I'm not a religious individual. I used to be, quite a bit into that, but when I got out of the Army, things kind of changed for me. So, I don't really walk down that road much anymore, but, so I thought about a couple things. And so as her body was doing that, I got my arm, this arm right here, underneath her head, which is underneath here. So like I'm holding her like that, except my elbows behind. So like you're gonna, like you're dancing and then you go, woo, and you do the dip. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And of course I'm right there by Danielle's side these last couple of days. I did not move a bit. And then I placed my hand on her chest. And what I said was, Lord, I command you to receive her spirit and her soul into the heavens, to fly amongst the angels, and to be by your side as she has deserved, as she has earned her place to be, and that you relieve her of her pain and her suffering. And this I command you. And it wasn't, it wasn't long after that that it stopped. And it was just the breathing was the only movement you saw was her shoulders. And her shoulders were starting to labor more. They were, you know, what was happening is now the body is fighting to breathe. Okay, so it's having to work hard to get that oxygen in and out. So when that's happening, you're getting close. Your feet start to swell up. They get real cold. There's no pulse on your foot. The blood is starting to go gravitate towards the vital organs, and your skin's getting colder. I felt all of these things on her. Those took hours to happen, and so then when it got they increased her morphine a little bit, and then her whatever else she was taking to help ease some of that pain where the body wasn't having to work so hard. That kind of slowed things down a little bit. And so when it got to around, I don't know, 5:30 or so, then I told her, I said, okay, babe, we've been telling her the whole time, hey, it's okay, babe, you don't have to fight anymore, you can go now. So we've been telling her this for the last, 24 hours. You can go, babe, you fought a good fight. We'll see you again. You go fly in heaven and see God, and you're an incredible woman. And so we had been telling her this, because sometimes people hold on and they keep going. Her body was stubborn, dude. Her body wasn't giving up shit, and it just kept going and going and going. And so finally, I put my arm around the back of her head again, and I placed my hand, on her chest, and I could see her chest rising little by little. I could hear her breathe, and I said, I command you, Lord, to release her body from this earth. It is time to leave, and so I can place it into the potter's ground. So it wasn't long after that. It was like, 6, I don't know, 6:10, 6:09. Her breathing all of a sudden changed. It would go up, and then it would go down, and then she would, try to come up again. So now you knew that you're only a couple breaths away from taking your last one. So I'm sitting there, and I'm right here with her, and I'm watching. I have my hand on her, and she's facing me because I wanted her to face me, and it's 6:13 p.m. on February 1st. She took her last breath, and when she exhaled, I could feel that on my face, and I wanted to feel that. And that's hard for a lot of people, but that's the last time you're going to feel their breath. So for you guys that are married, and ladies that are married, I don't know who's all watching. When you're lying in bed with your girlfriend, your fiance, your husband, wife, whatever, when you're laying next to each other, you could feel them breathing on your neck or your cheek or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine if that was the last time, and that was it. So I wanted to make sure I felt that. I wanted to be a part of that. That last time. And so anyway, so she was gone at that point. So that was the second level of like the grieving, kind of whatever you want to call it, what I call it, I guess. And then now her mom, it really hit the realization really hit, because now I remember her saying, "No, my baby is gone," and she was standing right next to me, and I changed spots with her so she can hug Danielle and kiss on her, and it was very, very, very hard for all of us, but I couldn't imagine what it felt like for her mom. And to lose. Now, just so you know, Danielle is an only child. her mom and dad never had any more kids, so it's their only child. So that's even harder. I mean, it's hard just to lose a child, you know, and then in your mind, okay, well, I'm so glad I have one more left or two more left or whatever, but they don't have any. It's just that one. And her parents are young. So, um, um, that's her. She's trying to. Her mom's trying to text me, but I told her when I get done with this, I'll reach out to her. Anyway, so all right, so it's not over yet. So the person has to come in, announce her, as official. And that's always a couple minutes afterwards, and they gave the time after that. And they said, well, no, she passed away at 6:08. Well, when she took her last breath on me, I felt that. Then I looked at the clock. It was 6:13. So for me, it's 6:13. Not a couple minutes even matter, but that's the only number I saw. I didn't see these other numbers. And so we stayed there another 20 minutes, and it doesn't take long for your body to get cold. We're talking fucking colder than room temperature cold. And I stayed there for that. We all did, and touched her and hugged her and kissed her, and I didn't care that her body was cold. I still do it anyways. And there wasn't a not a bit of warmth in that body. I mean, she was gone, and I always wonder, where do you go? It's all this universe and planet. It's all about dimensions and frequencies. So there's things that fly around us that you can't see because it's different frequency, and that's been proven. So there's things you just can't see. But cats and other animals can see things. They can see shapes and other things because they see at a much different frequency than we do. So anyways, so after that, I wanted to be part of the nurses team that cleaned her because, again, we're approaching the time where it's almost the last time I'm going to be able to touch her. I wanted to do everything I could that could help her and allow me to touch her and kiss her as far as we can go until it's time to go. And so, and after I thought about, the bodily fluids were leaking out, I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't do that step. Maybe that might be too much for me. I mean, I can handle quite a bit. I'm here by myself. I can handle quite a bit. But, anyways, so I didn't do that. But, they got her cleaned up, got home. And so we went to the funeral home yesterday to start, doing everything. So the visitation, the showing, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be Friday for 2 hours from 6 to 8. It's going to be in the Woodlands at Forest Park Funeral Home, I believe it is, on 45. I'll leave all that information if you guys are nearby and you want to go, whatever. I don't really know, because I know a lot of you guys have been showing support over this past year. That will be in the description as soon as this video is done uploading. Plus, the service itself will be that Saturday from 10 to 12, and then from 12 to 2 is like a little bit of a reception. We're going to have some food, and people get to talk, and maybe talk about stories with Danielle. We'll have pictures set up of her all around. And what I'm going to be doing as part of the service is when we put her, I'm also one of the pallbearers. I said I want to be one of the pallbearers, and I'm going to be the guy who closes her casket, which will be for the last time. And they're like, well, dude, we have family members that can help carry that weight for you. I said, and that burden, I said, it's not a burden, and it's not about carrying weight. It's about it's a whole different level, when you love somebody. It's about, think of it this way. It's about what else can I do that directly is in contact with her. What can I do? Because there will be a point once I bury her that I physically can't do anything for her. Okay? And I said, so no, I'm going to be a pallbearer, and I'm going to be on the front left, so I will be on her right shoulder, and that way I can look down and I know she's facing me. And now I know her body, her spirit's already gone. I totally get that. I know. So and then we're gonna have that service and stuff. So once we carry her outside, they carry her to the thing, and then it wheels it over to where it's going to put her to the ground. She's going to be just underneath, just offset underneath this oak tree, facing, this really nice pond with the water fountain and the highways right there, plus one of her favorite shopping centers across the highway. This is kind of ironic. But anyways, and they're going to let me, I asked, and I said, please, please, I want to do this. This is the physically last thing I could ever do for her. And so I'm going to be shoveling the dirt back into the ground with the shovel. And I really want to do that because that is literally the last thing that physically I could ever do for her. And so they said, yes, you can do that. They said it's a pretty big hole. I said, I don't give a shit how long I'll be there. And so we're going to do that. Now, they do normally close it up with the backhoe and then pack it down and then put plywood on it and then take one of those things, pack it down, take it off, put a little bit more dirt on there. They do that, so that process is real quick, and then they throw fresh sod over it, so it looks like, it never was dug up. But I will get to do a lot of the shoveling, the beginning of that, and then the end of the shoveling, and then they can do the rest. So that will be the very last thing that I can physically do for her. After that, there's nothing else. So, it's, my granddad, he's awesome. He's like, the best dude in the world. So he's 96, 97. So I'm going to go pick him up Thursday and take him home Sunday. So he's going to stay with us. My brother Richie's coming down from Oklahoma. Haven't seen him since I was 16. I'm 42. My brother Robbie's coming up from Pleasanton. Hadn't seen him forever. My brother Kenny in Colorado. He's going to try to work it out where he come down, so I'm not sure yet. I got off the phone with him. And then we have all of Danielle's family down here. She's got a ton of family, a lot of great people. So it's going to be a big service. It's going to be a great service. We've got a lot of really nice things for Danielle because she was such a special lady. And she was such a wonderful lady, such a fantastic mom, and the best wife you could ever think of. Guys, I'm an asshole. Well, I'm not an asshole. You got to have patience. You're going to be with me. And, we never argued. We never fought. None of that stuff. We never yelled at each other. It's just I'm always like, go, 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 go. Sometimes I do get a little frustrated. The kids go all bonkers and crazy. And I'm like, shut up. What do you want? You hold on just a second. You put that away. That kind of thing, And she was so good. She was just so quiet, And she was always selfless. Always selfless. Was always about other people. She loved her 4 babies. She loved God. She loved her family. And she would do anything for everybody. She always volunteered to help strangers. And she was just such a comforting soul and just an incredible person. And just the kids could go crazy. I've never heard her talk louder than her normal calm voice. When the kids would go like bonkers, she would go up to them and she would do like a little finger thing. She'd be like here, I'm trying to get your attention. And she would talk to you very gently in the ear, and they would stop. I'm like, dude, how do you do that? Is that like some kind of Jedi mind trick? She was a fantastic woman, dude. Fantastic. It's just hard to know. It's hard to, to realize that, hey, she's gone. And it's like, we were only together for 4 years. And so it's very, very hard. So it'll be me and the 2 babies. The 2 older kids go back to their dad because, he's the only living parent. And he's the parent. So they'll go back to him. And actually, by law, that doesn't change until we go to court. Once we receive the death certificate, it's sealed by the state, like the little stamp thing as official. Then he has to contact the court to set up a date to go, however long that is on the books. It could be 2 weeks, it could be a month or 2, whatever. Then you go before the judge, him and me. I provide the paperwork, and then the judge, he says, okay. And the judge grants the child support to stop and grants him the custodial parent rights, and then that's it. He's a fucking dickhead, and he's just a fucking douche. But he will end up destroying these children's lives just because he doesn't care about anybody but himself. And he's not even going to let the kids go to the funeral. That support channel that her mom has, that Danielle's mom is, and the grandmas and this and that, and the grandpas, and that is such a good support channel for those kids, and that's what they need at this time. It's okay to cry. We know we're gonna miss mommy too, and then you do a lot of the hugging. You spend time with them, doing some things to try to ease some of that pain. And this jackass, you know, is just a fucking loser. Whenever Danielle started getting sick, all of a sudden, he started wanting the kids, and started cussing at her, calling her bitch. His guys, his wife started doing the same thing, and Danielle would just be nice and calm, never cuss back, never had any type of retaliation, text message back, nothing. The woman was incredible, and just, I mean, gosh, dude, anybody that came in contact with her, that became good friends with her, every one of them would agree is, I wish I had a little bit of Danielle in me. She just had these traits about her, these characteristics about her that was just, I've never been able to find all these great things in one person. So, anyways, so if you guys, I'm not telling you, I'm just putting this out there because a lot of you guys wanted to donate in the past, okay, and a lot of you guys did. So, if you're wanting to donate, to help the family with funeral burial costs, or if you want to donate to, whatever it is you want to do, then you can either Zelle pay me the money, which I'll have that email address. Well, you could do one. If you already know my email address, then you can do it. If not, I'm going to post the email address on the description section in here because I can't get it to my phone until I'm done with the video. And then you can send it there, and then we'll use that to help pay for different things and whatnot. But I think someone's going to film the funeral. My mom is going to watch the two babies, so that way, there's not a lot of disturbance, during that time. She'll be at home. So, I reassured her mom and her dad and her stepmom that, we want, a lot of people, when they become widows, they remarry down the road. And, that will probably happen down the road. I'm going to be wearing my ring right now for a very long time. So if and when that happens down the road, I reassured them that that doesn't change them seeing the babies. I can't control Talon and Riley, but I can control Landon and Casey. I said that does not change you guys seeing them, being there for them every week or every day, or doing school stuff or graduation stuff or birthday stuff. I want you to be all part of that. That does not change. And they really appreciated that. It doesn't matter, if and when I marry somebody else, if they got a big family and they got kids too, that does not matter. I will make sure that nothing changes on my end with my two little kids, because I want them to have all that family. And a lot of people lose their parents and they don't have family. And, sometimes they turn out okay, and sometimes they don't turn out okay. And that's just the realism of some situations. So, so that's kind of where we're at. It was pretty emotional the last few days. I mean, I've been very, very, very hard for me. And it's going to be very hard come Friday, and it will be the worst probably come Saturday. And so we'll see how all that goes. I'm not going to be on the phone on here much longer. I'm just rolling down here real fast, and then I'm probably going to get off. So wait a few minutes, and then I'm going to go in the description section, and it'll have, if you want to Zelle pay the money, we opened up an account. It's Danielle's, what do we call it? I remember my mother-in-law called it Danielle's, whatever the bank account name was, Danielle's Cancer Fund, or I don't know, whatever it was. That email address that I put in here will go to that. Or for some of you that have sent Zelle pay to me before in the past, if you want to use that same email address, you can. You can use, it's Kevin at TexasVeteranLawnService.com. So if you want to use that, I can transfer that over with no problem. I can, in fact, that's probably easier. Oh, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'll put it in here when we're done. So let's see here, Kev. We can super chat to help with expenses. I want to ask before I do it. Money Mike and Mike G. Instead, my man, for those of you who want to do super chats, I would hold off on that because they collect a percentage of that. Then I got to pay taxes on that. So if you want to contribute, and if you don't, that's okay. That's not what this is about. I was just updating you guys because a lot of you have been part of Danielle's fight. You were part of the fight. You were part of the support team. You were right there along with us. I know the last couple months I really hadn't been keeping you guys up to par, a whole lot. So a lot of you guys would text me a lot, and I would text you right back, you know. So it's very, very tough. Anyways, but if you're wanting to do that, you just Zelle pay the money. Now, Scout Lawn Care, his dad right now has pancreatic cancer, and he doesn't think he's going to make it. So the Scout Lawn Care, his name is Jim. I don't know his dad's name. So if you see Scout Lawn Care, be sure to reach out to him. Hey man, if you want to send him a few dollars, or if you just want to say, hey buddy, we're thinking about you and your dad. I hope your dad pulls through. Whatever the case may be. I don't know if anybody else is going through cancer right now, but supporting other people, during difficult times, can come in different ways. It could be verbally, it could be spiritually, it could be hanging out with somebody, it could be, comforting, hugging, help pay for something, whatever. There's all kinds of ways to help somebody. And think about this when you guys are driving home or driving to work or mowing the lawn or whatever. You never know what's going on in someone else's life until you start talking to them. You could be like, man, this motherfucker got nothing going on. He's chilling, he's this, he's that, he's blah, 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 blah. And then when you find out something, you're like, oh, shit, that's pretty heavy. Wow. You know what I'm saying? You never know. So as you meet people and you talk to people and you discover these things, real human beings that have, heart would try to comfort them a little bit. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of stuff. Just a sentence can go a long ways with people if you use the right words. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going down. We're going down. Okay. There's going to be a lot of people. I think this is the last truth about that. Okay. And all right, let's have a good sporty one. Oh, look at this guy, Max. Now, this guy, Max, too, I guarantee you that's Nick right there. I guarantee you that's him. Because he's a douche. What a fucking loser. Thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate that. Danielle was incredible. All right, Wyatt, take care, man. Thank you, Ben. All right, as soon as I get down to the bottom of this, I'm probably going to head out, guys, because my mother-in-law wants to talk to me. I just want to see everybody's comments. That's so true. Thank you, Spencer. Farm Tech, the kids are 10, 9, 3, and 1. Yeah. Thank you, Money Mike. I appreciate that. Keeping on. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Dirty Lawn Care. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Jason. Great, Jace Crazy Cuts. Thank you, Ben. Cato. I'm probably gonna be going down forever, man. Yeah, see, it'd be going down forever, ever. Oh, hold on, that's not that far down. I guess I can go. Hold on. This whole Max guy, 246764, what kind of fucking douche is that? Dude, I guarantee you that's probably Nick, her ex-husband. Fucking loser. Yeah, trust me, he is. The Empire will take you to ass witches. The fuck is that? That's so stupid. I don't even know what mods y'all talking about. What are mods? White power. Yes, maybe that's not Nick. I don't know. If I can, this is stupid. Whatever it is. How about Vimo or Square Cash app? Mm. Uh, the Zelle. Well, I don't have those. But although my brother was thinking about sending me money Vimo, just text me money, Mike. My cell number is in the About Us section on the channel. Just text me, bro, and then we can figure the rest out. 931 was me. You sir are a genetic mistake. Those comments are actually quite hilarious. Thanks, George. Farm Tech, the number is in the About Us section. Rick, hang in there, man. I hope your wife pulls through everything. Just do everything that you absolutely have to, to keep her going and stay positive and I mean anything that you can do for her that she doesn't have to do on her own, whatever it may be, do that for her, and and just pray and just keep going, man. Don't think about is she gonna make it, is she not gonna make it. Don't think about that. Just think about what can we do today to get past the day and get to tomorrow. Okay, try not to think too much about the bigger picture here. Come to Britain. Oh well, that's definitely not Nick then. Definitely not Nick. Hey, Rick, my prayers with you guys. Hang in there, Nick, Rick. If you want to call me, bro, or text me, because just went through this shit. I would be glad for you to do that, and I would love to talk to you and help you through that, man. Experience. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get out. Bad situations and bad outcomes on different things. There good things can come from bad experiences. It all depends how you look at things, how things change, how that bad experience is connected to everything around it. Okay, so Danielle was such an inspirational person that she touched everybody, dude. So her passing has affected everybody and has. I was having some problems with her dad and her mom, and I wanted it to be better. I didn't want to be like that. Danielle passed away, but I promised her that I would that I would change. I said, I'm going to, not that I'm going to try. I said, I'm going to. See, there's conviction there. I'm going to change, babe. So that way I can better my emotions and how I talk to people when I'm frustrated towards your mom and your dad and whoever else. And I'm going to apologize to them and I'm going to make it right. And I'm going to set things straight with them and then move forward because I really want to be in their lives for the kids and to have a good relationship. I said, I used to love hanging out with your dad and I want that back again. So whenever you get to that point, if you do, instead of saying, I'll try, that means you're giving yourself some doubt. Say, I'm going to make this change. You are now telling yourself with conviction that you're going to do it. So there's a difference. There's power in words. Okay. So I want you to think about that. What words you use when your brain, because see, your body follows what your brain does. If you think you can do something, you probably can. If you tell yourself something, I'm going to do this, you're going to do it with flying colors. The Greeks used to believe that. The Spartans, everybody did for thousands of years, that type of thinking was around. That's how shit got done. That's what you do when you're wanting to create change. You bet, Jim. Kevin, the UK will destroy you. Oh my God, it's like a fucking broken record. Anyways, are we ever going to get to the end of this? Now I got to call my mother-in-law. When I was diagnosed, everyone was, when they were afraid to say the wrong thing, just sitting with me made a difference. That's right, Rich. When people, have I don't want to spend too much time on here, but when someone is sick, if it's not like the plague, bubonic plague or some shit, sit next to them and talk to them. And, man, you realize so many wonderful people have a disease of some kind. And, just sitting there talking to them, and hey man, what sports team you like, fucking whatever, just chit chat. Here's something I want you guys to try. When you're walking down the hallway or you're walking in a store and you're at your phone, you're fucking looking down at the ground and shit. You're ignoring all these people that have come by you. 30 years ago, not everybody was staring at the fucking ground. You were looking up and, how you doing? You go da-da-da. Howdy. And you going down? Oh, howdy. You know, work on being a person who can see other people, who can interact with other people, because we are becoming more and more of a closed society, getting caught up in doing everything with our head down on interaction. So try to work on that a little bit. Yes, I'm definitely Kevin. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what mod is. What is mod? I don't. UK doesn't really do much. Sorry. Thank you. I keep reporting everything he says, Kevin. I don't know. Okay, thank you, Worley. Prayers, we are here for your brother. ING. I don't know what that is. Take care and reach out to us if you need to talk. Thank you, Jace. Worley, I hit block on him and his message disappeared. Later, brother. You and the fam are in my prayers. Thanks, Tito. I gotta go. I'm sorry for your loss and have a good night. Take care, Kohler. My deepest respect. I don't know what else to say. I know off the grid. Me too, man. She was a beautiful. I know. And what that interaction I had with her on YouTube when she was with you and when I live, she was so friendly, laughed at my stupid jokes. That's the thing, dude. She like I got the stupid jokes. You know what I'm saying? And she laughs at all that stuff. If I was a mod, I would have kicked him out by now. Cray, just get out. I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm actually 15. Oh, brother, go to the three dots and make me a mod chart. Okay. I'm Miriam. Hey, brother, keep in yours. Thank you, 365. Part said, Blue Wrenches next over you in the chat. This thing, okay, 185.5. Hello. How getting banned racist? Okay. Now it's getting to be dumb. Since we're, thank you guys for doing that. Go tribe. Sorry to hear Rick. Okay. Good night, guys. God bless. Thank you, Money Mike G. Good night, everybody. Well, good night, Max. I think you need a little. Deputy Cruz, 365. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Bella. Power of Life and Death and Tongue. I'm going to call Trump to deport you to geraniums. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Okay, when we can help, feel free to contact us at Cruz Lawn Care, brother. Thank you, Deputy. I appreciate that. The biggest patrol station in Wales. Be present. Okay, YouTube, 3 dots. Okay, I'll get. Okay, all done. All right, you guys have a good night. Go to in the description section here in a minute. I'm gonna once it done uploading, I'm gonna put the ZELLE account that it can go to. I would prefer it to go to that account that we created for Danielle. So I'll put that in there. I'll put Danielle's cancer fund or cancer, whatever it is. I don't know. I'll title it. I'll put it in these kind of things, these little brackets, and then that way you could send whatever you want to send there. If you don't, I mean, if you want to, you don't have to. There's a lot of other family and friends that want that to be able to send stuff. And I know a lot of you guys were, following us. So I wanted to put that out for you if you wanted to. If you don't, that is okay. And if you did, any amount doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. Okay, I'm getting out of here. I appreciate every one of you for listening and for supporting Danielle and being there and checking in on her and stuff. And I'll get back on here again sometime. I don't know when, but I appreciate all you guys. I love every one of you and being there with me and stuff. So I'm getting out here. We'll talk to you soon. You guys have a good night. God bless.